The crossover is off and running. The melding of two worlds in the zone and open mic. But today, no Mike Bianchi. His month-long vacation continues, and the smooth operator Kelly Velez filling in admirably, I might add. How's the grind treating you, my friend?
Well, thank you, man. The grind has been fun. It's been interesting. It's been tiring, but I wouldn't have it any other way, my friend.
Yeah, I would hope that you're fitting in those naps. Now I know you got the little one at home. Perhaps you know what you were telling me the other day. It's the little cat nap that keeps you going, right?
That's what I've gotten better at. Because before, as you said, those post show naps used to be half an hour plus, if we were blessed enough to have it. Now it's like, can I get at least like 5 minutes, a little less than 10?
Yeah.
I'll be fine. I'm rolling from there. So we've been working on those and it's been going good.
I've read articles about naps, and apparently all you need is 15 minutes. So
That's what they say. As long as
right.
you nap up to, I believe, past 15 minutes is when REM sleep starts, the rapid eye movement, and that's when you're knocked out. So if you
Right.
wake up past there, your body's like, whoa. But if you wake up before then, it's like, oh, this is refreshing.
There you
Um,
go. And you all learned a little something today. So here's how the
that's right.
breakdown works. 2 questions apiece. We'll go back and forth. I'll start us off. You and I, both big hoop heads. We love basketball. But do you actually find yourself less interested in the men's basketball event, their quest for gold, less interested than you do compared to some of the other sports that we typically don't lock in on, but every 4 years? That's where I'm at. And I'm curious if another basketball fanatic feels the same way, where I'm watching this sport and I'm not nearly as enthralled by it right now as I am with some of these other sports that I usually never pay attention to.
I never really thought about it like that. And I feel like I agree with you at this point. Absolutely. Because I've been talking all week about how interested I have been in like Team USA women's rugby and how locked in I've been with that, just attaching myself to Alona Mar, them actually like performing, getting it done, and then eventually winning that bronze medal with that incredible last second play that they had. And I was just excited like this, let's go. And then Team USA basketball plays and you kind of understand what the result is going to be. And also, I feel like the conversation of, oh, why was Jason Tatum not in the game? Why was Joel Embiid not in the game? That sort of conversation kind of dilutes the whole thing for me. I feel like once they play, like, say, a France or someone like that with some major hitters, then we'll pay attention a little more. But I definitely see what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's I think part of it is just that you expect greatness and the rest of the world really shouldn't be able to keep up. That's part of it. And this is going to sound like this might come across like media snobbery, so please slap me in the virtual head if it does. But
I'm ready.
I love basketball, but basketball also feels like work. And it the Olympics is like a break from the. It's like I get to watch sports just like a kid again. I'm not betting on it. I don't have to break it down. Nobody's expecting rugby analysis from me. I can just
Yes.
enjoy it. And so there's these other sports. I just marvel at the abilities and I just sit back and watch it without having to like jot notes about it or this team just lost me $25. Like it just feels there's the competitiveness, there's the appreciation, there's also this innocence that the Olympics brings, at least for me, where I appreciate it more. I don't know. And I mean, let's be honest, the NBA Finals is the pinnacle of basketball, not the gold medal. So I think that that's part of it too.
100%. And you bring up a good point there with the Olympics specifically, because you are able to kind of like unplug. It's like, okay, we're not going to break down the X's and O's of this speed walking competition going on right now. You get to appreciate kind of the true art. And also, when you're not too privy on what's going on, at least for me, I tend to pay attention even more just to see, okay, let's see what this is all about. Let's see what's
Yeah.
happening. And I've used this one word to describe so many things, from like speed tennis, rowing, all these certain sports that I would never watch on a regular day. I'm watching for the Olympics, and it's intense. They're way more intense than what I thought they were. And I think once you take out, like you said, the work component of it, like I don't have to break this down, you get to appreciate the art that are these sports, and it helps you just watch them even better. And basketball, I'm tired of doing pick and roll action, trying to break this down, all this stuff. Like you said, it does feel like work. It's good to just unplug and just watch these sports for what they are.
For sure. What you got for me?
So I thought it was an interesting conversation. There's this businesswoman named Michelle Lang that came out for U.S. women's rugby once again and saying, listen, we're going to put $4 million into this team for the next 4 years to prepare them for 2028 because of what a great season they've had to help support the athletes, all this sort of things, right? So that team, that squad gets some support. You have Flavor Flav with the U.S. women's water polo team, right? Where he's like, listen, they're not getting the money that they deserve. Let me come in here, insert some money into the conversation for the same reasons. So I was wondering for you, do you think this is something that's going to come down the pipeline even more from people who can't afford it to help support these sort of US teams specifically that don't get the money, right? Because another theory I had was, say, the US men's basketball team, right? A lot of these guys are making millions upon millions, sometimes upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars, right? If you win the gold medal, the U.S. pays out $30,000+. You don't need that money. You
Yep.
might as well give it to someone else in the U.S. that medaled in gold in fencing or something like that, or give the money to one of these other teams to help them build their brand. So do you think more and more people will help support Olympic teams like the way Michelle and Flavor Flav have?
I think so. I think the goodwill that has gone specifically Flavor Flav's way, because that's a story that I've paid a little bit more attention to. Water polo is another one of those sports that has just enthralled me in the
Yes.
last couple of weeks. It's so much fun to watch. And through that process, I'm like, at first I'm watching it. I didn't know about the story. My wife did. She's actually the one that kind of peeled the onion for me. I just thought Flavor Flav was a big fan of the Olympics.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I start reading up after she talked to me about that. The type of goodwill that has been created for him, the type of, I mean, look at Snoop Dogg, and he's just involved in the coverage. But when you're involved with the Olympics, especially if you're supporting one of these underfunded sports, it just does a lot for your PR. And I think it would be foolish if other celebrities who are loaded don't start filling the coffers of some of these other sports. So it seems to me, you're in the hip hop world. Has this infiltrated hip hop culture where like, has this become a big storyline on 1045 The Beat, that you have hip hop stars of the past that are getting so heavily involved in the Olympics?
You would think it would be more of a headline because, to tell you the truth, no. I feel like I may be the only one discussing it on our
You're keeping it alive
platforms.
for everybody.
But keep in mind, you know how it is, Krabs. Everybody loves their negativity. If there's no negativity to take out of it, a lot of times it doesn't make it. But it's something that surprised me because you would have thought. I've said before, Snoop Dogg is Mickey Mouse. Like, he's a brand that has just infiltrated the whole world. He's completely superseded hip hop culture. So you would think that people would embrace that more. We get to see Snoop every day on NBC. You know, a lot of people getting snooped out. And Flavor Flav too, someone who's a part of the hip hop culture. But no, from what I see, people aren't talking about it more, and it makes me mad, to tell you the truth. It makes me mad.
So my last question for you, I'm going to flip to the NFL. I put out a list this week for my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL going into 2024. I had none of the state of Florida guys, not trying to troll anybody. I just couldn't fit them in there.
How dare you?
There's a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. Brock Purdy didn't make the cut for me, so there was some controversy there. But I'm going to ask you it this way rather than trying to like run down a whole list. Thinking about the quarterbacks in the NFL and how you would rank them, which player do you think? Oh, I hear the little one crying back there. If you need to go take care of that, you stop this dead in its tracks.
It's all good. Mama got her. It's all good.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
man.
right. If you think about all the quarterbacks in the NFL, which do you think you'd have the toughest time ranking?
The toughest time ranking within that top 10?
I think just not even just top 10, but if you were, okay, you sat down, you have a blank canvas of all the quarterbacks and you were just going to start a ranking. Which quarterback do you think you'd have the toughest time placing properly?
That is a great question. Like, off the cuff, I'm just going through the different quarterbacks in my mind. To tell you the truth, the one that sticks out right now 100% is like a Josh Allen, because I respect, of course, his ability. I know his ability to be that sort of quarterback, but he just hasn't proven it out there, right? So I just think, from me, I would put like a Joe Burrow, even like a CJ Stroud, some of these younger guys above someone like a Josh Allen, just because specifically they haven't been able to get it done. How many times can you do good in the regular season and you fall off during the playoffs? So if I was to get a blank sheet of paper in front of me and list all these different guys, from the Patrick Mahomes of the world to the Lamar Jacksons, all these guys, I feel like when it comes to Josh Allen, I'd be like, oh, I don't know where to place him. Did you place him in the top 10?
Josh Allen is number 3 for me.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
Mahomes.
Wait, and why? Real quick, why?
So you have Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. I think when you just look at overall talent, his consistency, his first 2 years in the league were rough around the edges. He got better in year 2 than he was. He was a bad quarterback as a rookie, but you can kind of excuse that. The last several years, really since 2018 or 2020 on, he's the same exact guy every single year. He's always going to give you double-digit wins. He's always going to give you 4,500 passing yards. He's a beast to bring down in the backfield. He can extend plays, great arm. He's a built-in a lab quarterback. And so I agree. That's why Burrow's ahead of him for me. Mahomes is obvious. I don't need to argue that. Yeah. Burrow's ahead because Burrow has great talent, but he's also shown clutch ability, and he's beaten Josh Allen in the playoffs. Josh Allen, that's the only holdup. Honestly, if Allen had a Super Bowl, we'd be talking about him as potentially 1A, 1B with Mahomes. The only reason that we can't is because Mahomes has playoff success. I think one of the tougher ones for me was Jalen Hurts. That was like, oh yeah, and I had him in my top 5, but there is a part of me after looking at the list and going, if I'm gonna hold back Brock Purdy because he's a system quarterback, Jalen has AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. He's had a great offensive line, and I have confidence in Jalen Hurts. Yeah, the tush push has definitely helped, but he's a part of that too. I just wonder if I'm overrating. If I'm taking stock of my own list, if I'm overrating Jalen Hurts because of the cast that he has around him.
That's a good point, and it's a valid question. But the bad thing about it is that what else are you going to do it with, right? That's just so happens to be the squad that he has and has been with, right? So I think by your criteria, you just got to look at it, pen to paper, and just make that decision. But for me, bro, that's another difficult one to even place, man. Like I said, I didn't even think about him. So you're not wrong, Kravs. You're not wrong.
We'll cap it right there. The crossover is over.
It's over.